everyone, welcome to Kelly's Creative Dream Studios, and this is what was supposed to have been my flip through of the 5 Days of Fall collab with Cara Brandon Creations and Dearjuliejulie. And face it, there's 5 pages from each girl. Shouldn't take long to put together a journal. A day easy. I've seen Julie put these together in a couple of hours on a live. So I had this all ready to go yesterday, or at least to the point where I could sit down and start cutting and putting things together. And I hit a snag. Before I started anything else yesterday and knew that I would have all afternoon to do this, I wanted to get my Card Chicks kits ready to go in the mail. I belong to a group on Split Coast Stampers. We've been going almost 10 years, where every month somebody hosts to send out an envelope of goodies to each participant, and then we post our cards on the 21st of the month to the group. And I wanted to make sure mine went out definitely on time, but preferably early this year. They have to be mailed by the 1st of the month. We prefer to get them out earlier, and so I want to make sure I got that done this time. So I got that out of the way yesterday. At least I was starting on it. Shouldn't take me long. I knew I was using Graphic 45 and Stampin' Up! Papers. I had one fall image that I could stamp license free and share, and that was a gnome, because 99% of the stamps I own are Stampin' Up! So we can't just stamp and share them. So I had to find something in my stash that I could use. And I found a gnome, and I thought, well, instead of stamping him on a piece of cardstock and then sending them the cardstock square with the gnome stamped on it for them to either use the square mat or to fussy cut him out, I would open up my birthday present from Bobby. So I opened up my scan and cut, and it worked beautifully until I got to the part of taking it off the mat. And what my sister-in-law, who recommended the scan and cut, knew that I would want one as soon as I played with hers, and informed Bobby so he knew what he was buying me for my birthday without me even asking, was that the first few times you use that mat, you're going to fight to get your paper off of it. I cut my gnomes out, went to peel them off, and my cardstock came off in layers. It was so sticky. After 45 minutes of fighting to get it off the mat, with their little spatula tool and having the indent of this end of the spatula tool in the palm of my hand, I messaged my sister-in-law, and she says, yeah, that'll happen the first few times you use it. She says, I just took a wet cloth to mine and soaked the paper off, and it also brought some of the stickiness off. She says, if you don't mind using the blue painter's tape to tape your paper down when you go to cut, she says. I says, well, no, of course I don't, because that's what we did when you were here. I says, I was expecting that. I already have a roll of painter's tape in my cutting station for that purpose. So then I spent the next 2 hours soaking the cardstock off my mat, going back and scraping the wet layers off until I got it down to where I could use it. Re-stamped a sheet of gnomes, got them cut, got the kits put together, and by that time I had an hour until it was time to jump in on the birthday party at Spectrum Art Creations with Maddie, where on the last Sunday of each month we play bingo and trivia to celebrate that month's birthdays. And well, since it was my birthday this month, and on that day, I was not going to miss game day. So I didn't get to work on this journal at all. So as soon as I get blog post done today, then tomorrow, this is part of my project, this and doing the research that I need. I am speaking at a writers conference on October 8th at the Ozark Creative Writers Conference in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. And I need to finish getting my presentation done. So for this week, my day will be divided between crafting and my presentation, getting my presentation ready. So let's start with what we are working with for Dearjuliejulie and Cara Brandon's 5 Days of Fall challenge for 2021. And I'm going to hope this stays in frame. The papers go different directions. I've matched it with this, so if I can keep this one in frame, we're good. So let's start with each day Julie and Cara put together a page. So this is Julie's day one. And when I saw this envelope template, I knew what I wanted to do with it, and I'm going to explain that in a minute. So keep this envelope template in mind. So there's Julie's day one, and here's Cara's day one. I love these bubble pockets. I love these. Because a lot of times I will cut this off, and then I've got this extra piece here that I can use elsewhere in the journal. You've seen me do that before. And then I'll just have this image to work with. So I've got tags, I've got yellow lily of the valley. I didn't know there was such a thing, but it's pretty. Some small book cover images down here, the spotted fawn, the squirrel, which I'm quite familiar with squirrels. Although since I've quit filling my feeders, I've not seen them around. So then we have day two of Dear Julie. And she most always includes flinch cards in her images. And she has some great vintage things that she pulls from her stash to use. And then here was Cara's day two. Squirrel. More of that lily of the valley. Lots of little tags in this collage area that we can play with. And then there was Julie's day three. And I love this one. And I want to do this in a couple of different prints so I can cut this pumpkin out and bring it up on this and create some dimension. Then there's this wild-eared squirrel here. And then these vintage deer cards. So there's Julie's day three and Cara's day three. And one of the first things I noticed yesterday when I unpacked my Scan and Cut was that these strips of blue tape were sealing the hatches down and taping stuff to the machine. And look how well it matches Cara's papers. So now I have washi tape of sorts that I can use in my fall journal. So that was day three from Cara. And then we have day four from Julie. I really love this ribbon, and I wish there was a full strip of it, not added with other stuff around it, but I'll work with it. And then more of her vintage postcards and ephemera pieces that she gleans from. And then here was Cara's. Now this has got a little bit of a different look to it. It's a side-by-side page. It has a weathered look. Now, I'm not sure if it has a weathered look intentionally or if that was because my printer was running out of ink. Not sure which, but either way, it works. The weathered look works with this journal. And then we have Julie's day five. More of that vintage postcard, just in a larger scale. She's brought in postage stamps, a cigarette card from Will's Cigarettes out of Ireland, tobacco company out of Ireland, the owl, and then this game board, and then there's that pumpkin. I keep moving my guard here, and then there's that pumpkin again. So I'm going to play with that. And then here is Cara's day five. And out of the whole kit, I think this pocket is my favorite. Pumpkins. These are used when young as a vegetable. When ripe, they form a valuable esculent for soups and pumpkin pies. And there are various types of pumpkins too. And the other thing I like is I like the orange tickets. And I love the photo record. I would take an entire page of these. And I'm going to ask Cara about this because these would be great embellishments on every page of an October daily or a December daily album. And then we have the words here: autumn, fall, pumpkins, falling leaves, memories, school days, pumpkin spice, hot chocolate, pumpkin patch, and changing leaves. All good signs of fall. Now, I told you I had a plan when I saw that envelope. And so I cut it out. Now, it would have taken, initially it would have taken a page to go inside of it to be 5 by, basically 4 by 5. But on my printer settings, I don't have a 4 by 5. I have 4 by 7 and I have 4 by 6. So, what I did with the digitals, my thought was to take 2 of these and put them together to form an envelope front and back cover, and then the pages go in the middle. And let's see if I've got, I had some of them cut out here and ready to go. Thought that I had already folded. Here we go. So I printed all of mine and on the 4x6, which that is 4x6, so it comes out to be 3x4. So it makes it a little bit smaller for this, but I think what I can do is change the size of the envelope and reduce this down to maybe a 75%, and I'm going to test run that because I want to use these as the pages. I've also gone through, Cara has pages. She has a fall additional kit that went with this, and it brings in more of the blues, more full-size pages. Some of them I printed front and back. So see, there's the pumpkin and mushroom thing again, and this was with a new cartridge. So yeah, the distressing is there so that I could use these as full pages in the journals. So I'm going to go back, and I think I'm just going to take and lay this on the copy machine and reduce it down to about 75% until I get it down to a point where these will fit nicely. See, where was I going with this? There we go. So these will fit nicely in here as a page in the journal, and we'll play with that and see what we come up with. So, no journal to show you today actually, but to show you what I'm working with. There will not be a video tomorrow or Wednesday. Thursday would normally be Design Team Thursday, but it's also the last day of the month, so I am doing Can That Paper Pumpkin with Stamp Girl and Linda Kaufman. So all goes well, I'll have the flip through video for this up Friday or Saturday. As you can see, I've been cutting, so I'm getting there, and so that should get me back to getting stuff up here on a regular basis. In the meantime, remember to take time to play. Remember that just because a digital takes up a full page, play with your printer settings. You don't have to do an 8.5 by 11, type of page for your journal. You can make them whatever size you want. These are going to be perfect in a short, chunky journal. If I can't get them to fit the envelope, I have another box over here that I've been saving, and I can turn them into multiple journals for a mini album and then increase the size of these. We'll see. I'm going to play, and I hope you will too. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And in the meantime, while you're waiting for me to come back, go visit one of your other favorite channels and see what those girls are up to. And I will see you back here on Thursday when we can that paper pumpkin. Creative blessings.